Welcome back to Your Fantasy Nerd, and here we're going to be bringing you the Week 3 rankings of the consensus rankings here at Your Fantasy Nerd for the wide receiver and tight end position. So I will quickly run through the top 10 here at the wide receiver position. At number 1, Antonio Brown. Number 2, Julio Jones. 3, Odell Beckham Jr. 4, Demaryius Thomas. 5, Randall Cobb. 6, A.J. Green. 7, Julian Edelman. 8, Jordan Matthews. 9, Calvin Johnson. And at number 10, Keenan Allen. So I want to talk about two guys on this top 10 here. First guy being Demaryius Thomas at number 4. I've got him at number 7. You can't really expect much more from Demaryius Thomas from what he did last week. He put up great stats. 120 yards, 8 catches. The guy was great. He just didn't get in the end zone, unfortunately. And the only fear I have is seeing Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had a good week last week. I definitely think he can be a starter still for you on your fantasy teams, but he scares me. He threw a lot of ducks during that game against the Chiefs. The Chiefs really housed him a couple times. He had a lot of sacks. So I'm just fearful in the sense that if you can give up Demaryius Thomas now for another stud receiver, like if you can get Odell Beckham, maybe steal Julio Jones, I don't know. Randall Cobb, maybe not Randall Cobb, but if you can get maybe Odell or Julio, I'm trying to get Odell or Julio for Demaryius Thomas because I think Thomas's value will go down as the season goes on. Because first of all, Peyton Manning has never been a good end of the season quarterback, and he's already not looked great. So we've got him. I've got him at 7 this week at Detroit, so I think he's fine for this week. Don't worry about him yet. All right, at number 9, Calvin Johnson. I've got him at 5. Oh my gosh, great week last week. He just had a terrible yards per catch. 8.3 yards, 17 targets, 10 catches. The guy was used a ton. It was just on a lot of short passes, that's all. I don't think that trend will continue of short passes. Calvin Johnson is a deep threat still. He can catch short passes, but I'm not too worried about Calvin Johnson not getting deep balls. I was a little upset when I saw the 10 reception, 83-yard stat line as he is on my team. Because I thought 10 receptions, this guy's going to crack 150 yards. Not necessarily so. But I think that going up against Denver this week, this game I think will be very high scoring. Finally, Calvin Johnson goes home where he dominates. So I think that Calvin Johnson is a good week. All right, moving on to 11 through 20. I'm going to talk about one guy, but we'll go through it quickly. At number 11, DeAndre Hopkins. 12, Steve Smith. 13, Brandon Marshall. 14, T.Y. Hilton. 15, Jarvis Landry. 16, Jeremy Maclin. 17, Emmanuel Sanders. 18, Allen Robinson. 19, Terrence Williams. And at number 20, Amari Cooper. So, as I said, the only guy I want to talk about here is Allen Robinson at 18. I have him at 22, so I'm definitely starting Allen Robinson if I have him on my team. Unless I've got two great stud wide receivers, but in most cases, I think you start Allen Robinson this week. Looking back at what he did last week, he was tremendous. He was one of the best receivers in fantasy last week. And I don't think that'll stop. He's the clear number one threat for Blake Bortles, who did have a crazy good game last week. I don't think his stats will continue like that. And I don't think Robinson will be as good as he was last week. Actually, that's definite. He will not be that good on a consistent basis. But with Allen Robinson, I just think the volume is going to be there. That's the thing about Allen Robinson. I've got him at 22, so I think when you think about just volume receivers, he's a guy that you can trust. PPR formats, he's definitely a guy I'm starting. Probably a top 15 wide receiver, top 20 going forward. And I think that you definitely start Allen Robinson this week. At New England, that game, they'll be down a lot early, so I think that you definitely want to start Robinson, as I continue to repeat that. That was the only wide receiver I wanted to talk about. Now moving on to 21 through 30. At 21, Larry Fitzgerald. 22, John Brown, back-to-back Cardinals. 23, Brandon Cooks. 24, James Jones. 25, Golden Tate. 26, Alshon Jeffrey. 27, Mike Evans. 28, Michael Crabtree. 29, Mike Wallace. And 30, Charles Johnson. So I want to only talk about one guy again, and it's just for the sheer fact that I'm kind of frustrated by where this player's ranked. It's Alshon Jeffrey at 26. Folks, if you think I'm part of this Alshon Jeffrey hating on session, no. Okay, Alshon Jeffrey, I've got him at 14. I'm definitely starting Alshon Jeffrey. Just want to highlight him because while he's playing Seattle and while he's still sort of banged up, if he plays, you're not sitting Alshon Jeffrey, okay? You definitely want to start Jeffrey. I know he's going up against Sherman, but Sherman's looked kind of weak. I don't want to say weak, but he's looked like not his 100% domination this year, and the Seattle defense hasn't really either. So I think Jeffrey, the Bears are going to lose by 100. Not 100. They'll lose by 20. But I just think that when you look at this game, the Bears are going to be down a lot. They've got Clausen. I think if Clausen goes into this game, really, he has to rely on someone. You don't really see quarterbacks throwing it all around the field when they're a new quarterback. So I think that he leans on Jeffrey a lot in this game. So I like Alshon Jeffrey. Not terribly, but enough to start him at 14. All right, now moving on to tight end. We'll go through the top 12. At number 1, and he's going to be number 1 forever, Rob Gronkowski. Number 2, Travis Kelce. 3, Greg Olsen. 4, Jimmy Graham. 5, Tyler Eifert. 6, Jordan Reed. Number 7, Jason Witten. 8, Heath Miller. 9, Martellus Bennett. 10, Kyle Rudolph. 11, Crockett Gilmore. And number 12, Eric Ebron. So I want to talk about 2 guys on this list. At number 6, Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed's been great. I have him at 8. He's going up against the Giants at home. That's a pretty good matchup for him. I would say that Jordan Reed is someone that you can consider a starter going forward just on pure volume. Kirk Cousins has thrown him the ball a ton. He's averaging, I believe, 7 receptions per game in his first 2 games. So I don't see how that trend doesn't continue. He's been consistent. He's been solid. I don't see how it doesn't stop. So I like Jordan Reed this week and going forward. All right, at number 8, Heath Miller. I've got him at number 10. This is kind of just a random thought, perhaps, but Heath Miller, the Pittsburgh offense, I said this in the quarterback running back video, they're going to be throwing the ball at the 2-point conversions. And as I said, if you get 2-point conversion points, that's huge, because I think Heath Miller is probably the second best option at the goal line for Pittsburgh behind Antonio Brown. So I'm definitely starting Heath Miller this week. Yes, and that'll wrap up the wide receiver and tight end rankings here at Your Fantasy Nerd. As I said in our earlier video, you can go ahead and check out the individual rankings of all 3 of our rankings at yourfantasynerd.com for the week 3 rankings. So go ahead and also subscribe at Your Fantasy Nerd. So thank you for watching, folks.